you want to hang out? And he's like, I'll save it for later, maybe later. And it's that maybe later mentality that a lot of guys have, or a lot of people have. I know a lot of girls that do this as well. Breadcrumb guys, it's a human thing. But it's this maybe later mentality that a lot of people have that is kind of like, okay, you know, maybe later, maybe later, maybe later, maybe later, maybe later, and then it never happens. Have you ever been breadcrumbed? If you don't know what breadcrumbing is, it's a new dating sensation that is sweeping across the world where basically, I don't know if you've ever been this, maybe you know someone who's like this, but it's where you're texting someone and you like them, but what they tend to be doing is basically, they leave you hints. You know, maybe they were super keen one day and then the next day they're kind of like, and maybe they don't text you for a week, even months, but they'll drop you a breadcrumb here and there. If you kind of think of it like Hansel and Gretel walking through the forest, doing whatever Hansel and Gretel do in forest times, breadcrumbing is very similar, where basically a guy is interested in you, but he's not that interested in you. And there are things that you can do to get the guy so interested in you that basically, if he's breadcrumbing you, if he's leaving you hints and, you know, kind of just checking in with you now and then, that you can do to get him so attracted that he stops doing that. But this video is about how to really see if he is actually breadcrumbing you. Because basically, if you look at dating kind of like a stepladder, you know, if you're trying to go for a date with a guy, if you're trying to get to know a guy more and he's just leaving you these breadcrumbs, basically it's him communicating to you at a very subconscious level that he's not really quite ready for that next step. So what he does is he expresses his interest in you by leaving you these breadcrumbs, by texting you every month or so, or every week or so, just seeing how you are. But because he never truly gets what he wants, or he's not quite sure what he wants, he takes that step back. And it's easy to say that he's an arsehole or a jerk or things like that. What really is happening is he's just not quite sure what's going on. So what we have to do is make it clearer for him, and these are things you can do. So step one, what you can do is follow the simple rule, a very simple rule, that it is not a date unless you set a date. One of the biggest reasons why guys breadcrumb is because they're interested in you, but they're waiting to see if you're interested in them, you know? And it's one of those things that I see this happen all the time, that a lot of girls are like, oh, but you know, we said we'll hang out on the weekend, and then the weekend happened, and then it didn't happen. It's because the date was never set. The date didn't happen because you guys didn't set a date. And that simply means setting a date and a time, being like Wednesday, 7 p.m., yes or no, pizza, great place, very good. And when you do this, you're basically communicating in his masculine language very clearly. You know, it's basically the idea that it's just communication. You're communicating, hey, do you want to hang out, yes or no? When you set these explicit dates and he still doesn't give you an answer, that's where you kind of have permission to say, well, yes or no, it's just a question. You know, what happens is, and there's a phrase that I love by Tony Robbins where he says, you get what you tolerate. If you tolerate this kind of behavior will continue and perpetuate. And the reason why it probably is still happening, or it happens so often, is because we tolerate it. So step one is to set explicit dates, to set a date for the date so that you have a date. The second thing you can do is actually make your emotions more explicit. If you're afraid to express your emotions, most of the time it's because, you know, he's also afraid to express his emotions. And if he's breadcrumbing, he's probably looking for more evidence of you to figure out more of who you are. So it's kind of like saying these things where you can actually say a guy, you know, I'm actually interested in you. Do you want to grab a drink? Like, hey, I actually like you. You know, do you want to hang out some more? It's these little, what we call them, like tokens of interest, these expressions of interest, are what a lot of guys look for. Now, if he's not that interested in you and you express these things and he runs away, it just shows he was looking for attention and not really you in the first place. And I'll say that again. He was just looking for attention. You know, he was just looking for your appreciation, that you were there, but he didn't want you fully there. And, you know, what kind of relationship do you want? Do you want a relationship with a guy? Do you actually want a fucking relationship? Or do you want a relationship with someone who is just kind of keeping you there on the side? So what you can do is express your emotions a bit more clearly. If you like him, let him know that you like him. Now what will happen is he'll actually push back a little bit if he doesn't like you. If he does like you, there's a rule that if guys like you, they'll make it easier for you. So it doesn't really matter what you say as long as you say it. That's the most important thing. So when you say these things, he will, if he likes you, he'll be like, I like more of this. I want more of this. Let's do this. And if you say it and he doesn't like you, that's when he'll probably start to fade and ghost you, because he wanted you as an on-the-side person or as an attention person, but not the real you. And which one do you want? Now, the third thing you can do, and this is the most interesting one, because I feel like this is the simplest one, but a lot of people are going to be afraid of this, is message him at your convenience. You know, a lot of reasons why guys breadcrumb a girl is because they have the power and it's boring for them. You know, they're not interested because there's no excitement, there's no pursuit of the chase. You know, it's part of the masculine nature for a lot of people who are in their masculine, not just men, but people who are in their masculine to, that's men or women, by the way, to enjoy the chase. It's kind of like if a knight slays a dragon to get a princess, he ain't fucking looking at other princesses. In fact, it's the slaying of the dragon process that a lot of guys feel like they've earned it. They want to feel like they've earned a woman. So it's kind of like if you were to express these things, if you can express your emotions, not just when he's messaging you, not just when it's convenient for him, he'll realize that you are a high value person, that you have the audacity, you have the cojones, so to speak, to express to him that you are comfortable with expressing your emotions. And if you're the kind of person who's worried that this is very needy, very too much, that you think you're gonna like push him away, again, the rule is, if he likes you, he'll make it easier for you. If he likes you, whatever you do, if it's the wrong thing to do, he'll think he's cute and forward and like, he'll be happy that you did that. And if he doesn't like you, then he'll be like, oh, that's weird. But the truth is, and there's another rule that you can remember here, or just a principle, so to speak, that it's never needy if you know that you're not needy. If it comes from a place of love, if you are this high value person who gives more than she takes, right? Then you are a high value woman or man. If you're a guy watching this as well, you're a high value person, right? You're not needy, you're giving. And sometimes the best way to give is to set standards, is to set expectations, and is to say, hey, do you like me or not? You know, it's like, because sometimes a lot of guys breadcrumb because they never got called out for it. You know, they did it to a bunch of girls. They're like interested, I like this girl. And then she's like, do you want to hang out? And he's like, I'll save it for later, maybe later. And it's that maybe later mentality that a lot of guys have, or a lot of people have. I know a lot of girls that do this as well. Breadcrumb guys, it's a human thing. But it's this maybe later mentality that a lot of people have that is kind of like, okay, you know, maybe later, maybe later, maybe later, maybe later, maybe later, and then it never happens. So that was this video, and if you have ever been breadcrumbed, or if you've ever breadcrumbed anyone, make sure to comment below and let me know a story. And if you don't want to comment below, I don't care, whatever, it's up to you. But at least make sure to leave a like, because if you did, then I liked you, and make sure to subscribe, because if you don't, Halloween will come twice this year. And if you didn't watch last week's awesome thing of Ask Harvey, make sure to watch it because it was a good thing. And if you're very interested also, down in the link below, I've got my latest, I've got the ultimate ghosting survival guide, which is my little guide on ghosting, not breadcrumbing, but ghosting, and the ideas are very similar about why people do it. So if you want to learn about this crazy phenomena, fucking check it in the description below. All right, see you next time. Mwah.